The first time Earth saw them, it was on a crisp autumn morning. Leaves danced in the wind, golden and orange, the kind of morning that made humans think life was simple. That illusion shattered when the sky split open above New Haven. It wasn't an explosion or a thunderclap. It was silence, unnatural, heavy, almost like the world held its breath. Then came the ship. It hovered like a ghost over the trees, gleaming with dark chrome and alien etchings, casting an enormous shadow over the forest edge. Military satellites picked it up instantly, scrambling every nearby base. But before the jets could even take off, the ship opened. Two figures stepped out. Tall. Bald. Beautiful in a way that wasn't human. Their skin shimmered faintly, not white, not silver, something between. Their suits were skin-tight and laced with golden lines that pulsed faintly, alive almost. Their eyes glowed, not with menace, but something deeper. Not love. Not hate. Just ancient tiredness. Like they were already over this place. Their names, as far as the linguists could tell, were Kaela and Siraya. Sisters. Twins. Warriors. Exiled from their homeworld, a galaxy-spanning civilization known only as the Fold for reasons not even the highest levels of Earth's intelligence could decipher. The only message the ship broadcasted in perfect English was, punishment, exile to primitive quadrant. No return. That primitive quadrant was Earth. At first, humans treated them like threats. Special forces surrounded the landing zone, rifles up, mechs deployed, drones buzzing. The twins didn't resist. They just stood there, observing. Kaela blinked at a drone, and it fizzled midair. Siraya tilted her head at the mech, and its metal joints locked up like they'd rusted over. No blood was spilled. No commands were given. The twins walked through the soldiers as if they were nothing but confused children. They didn't even flinch. The UN got involved fast. Every country wanted a piece of the story. Scientists, linguists, philosophers, generals. But the twins refused to speak unless it was to one man, Daniel Cross. A no-name EMT from a nearby town who'd just been trying to help an old man having a seizure when the ship landed. Kaela had seen him first. She watched him run into danger with no weapons, no armor, just a med bag and heart. She stared at him like he was some kind of anomaly. "Why do you risk?" she had asked in perfect English, her voice smooth and cold. Daniel shrugged. "Because someone needed help. That's what we do here." That moment changed everything. The government didn't like it. Suddenly, this small-town paramedic was the key to communicating with two of the most powerful beings on the planet. But the twins wouldn't budge. If Daniel wasn't in the room, they wouldn't talk. Period. So Daniel talked. A lot. He found them strange, yes, but also curious. They weren't here to conquer. They weren't here to destroy. They were stuck. Banished. Their punishment was exile, not execution. And Earth, by galactic standards, was considered barely sentient. "You're like the backwards of the universe," Siraya said dryly one night, sitting on the roof of a UN facility, legs dangling over the edge. Daniel laughed. She didn't. Still, they stayed. Weeks turned to months. The twins became a global fascination. TV specials. Conspiracy theories. Fan pages. But they remained ghosts behind walls, seen only when they wanted to be. And always, always near Daniel. No one knew why. But Daniel was starting to. They watched him. Studied him. Every action, every word. Not like scientists with a test subject. More like seekers. People who had been taught all there was to know, only to realize none of it mattered here. Kaela was the sharper one. Calculating. Her words cut. Siraya was quieter, observant, almost poetic. Daniel grew closer to them both, in different ways. One night, during a violent storm, the facility lost power. Generators kicked in, but it was chaos. Kaela found Daniel in the dark, drenched, trying to calm a panicking technician. She stood silently, eyes glowing faintly, watching how he soothed the man with nothing but words. "You wield no power," she said once the tech was safe. "And yet they follow you. Why?" Daniel sighed, leaning against the wall. Because sometimes strength isn't about force. It's about who stays when things fall apart. She looked at him like he'd spoken magic. That was when the change began. Kaela started asking questions. About music. Emotions. Art. Not war. Not strategy. She watched movies late into the night, old films with laughter and heartbreak. Siraya began painting, strange alien patterns that slowly became recognizable as forests, rivers, human faces. Then came the first threat. Another ship. This one wasn't exiled. It came hunting. The fold hadn't forgotten its lost daughters. And something about Earth, about their devolution, as the fold called it, made the council uneasy. It was unacceptable. Either the twins returned for reprogramming, or Earth would suffer for their contamination. The message was clear. The twins refused. Daniel was there when the sky lit up again. This time, not with silence. With fire. The new ship descended with weapons hot, its hull bristling with quantum cannons. Everyone panicked. Except Kaela and Siraya. They sent the enforcer, Kaela said quietly. Will you fight him? Daniel asked. No, Siraya replied. We will protect. That was the first time they truly acted like humans. The battle wasn't fair. One ship against two beings. But they weren't ordinary beings anymore. Earth had changed them. Softened their code. Twisted their logic. Given them something they'd never had before. Purpose. They didn't just fight. They defended. They bled. Kaela took a direct hit shielding a hospital. Siraya nearly collapsed, keeping the enforcer's gravity weapon from flattening a city block. But they won. Not by overwhelming power. By sacrifice. The enforcer didn't die. He left, confused. The fold would hear of this. The twins collapsed in the ruins of what was once a school gym. Daniel rushed to them, shouting, crying. Kaela smiled, her blood shimmering silver. We broke, she whispered. But maybe, we became more. Siraya touched Daniel's face, eyes wide. We understand now. Love is not weakness. It is defiance. They passed out. When they awoke, the world had changed. People no longer saw them as weapons or aliens. They were heroes. And Daniel, somehow, had become their anchor. The love wasn't romantic. Not yet. It was raw, messy, undefined. A bond forged not in desire, but in survival, in meaning. Something was growing. And that frightened the fold more than anything else. The punishment hadn't broken them. Earth had saved them. But this was only the beginning. The fold was watching. And next time, they wouldn't send a warning. The doctors said they shouldn't have survived. Kaela had third-degree burns across most of her chest and arms. Siraya's neural grid had short-circuited, her own mind had almost turned against her. And yet, within 72 hours, both were standing bruised, bandaged, limping, but alive. Daniel stayed with them the whole time. He skipped meals. Barely slept. Argued with UN security guards and barked at medics who didn't treat the twins like people. Somewhere along the way, the world stopped seeing him as an ordinary man. He was the bridge now. The translator of the human soul to two beings who had once been above such things. And that put a target on his back. He didn't realize how deep things had gotten until he saw the agents outside his apartment. Black suits. Dark glasses. Not local cops. Not federal. Something deeper. Quieter. The kind that didn't ask questions, they just took you. The next day, Daniel was gone. The official story? Relocated for his own safety. Kaela didn't buy it. Neither did Siraya. They hacked the facility's internal net within minutes. Data flickered across their irises. Firewalls folded like paper. They followed the trail through 10 black sites before they found the signal. Underground. Arctic Circle. Remote enough to hide a war. He was alive. Isolated. Monitored. Interrogated. They didn't wait for permission. They left that night. The escape was surgical. Silent. Beautiful in its precision. Cameras glitched. Guards fell asleep. Doors opened themselves. By the time the alarms blared, the twins were already gone. It took the UN 2 days to catch up. By then, Kaela and Siraya had already breached the facility. No weapons. Just them. Moving like shadows. Daniel was strapped to a chair, eyes swollen, lips split, voice hoarse from yelling. The moment he saw Kaela crash through the reinforced door, he laughed. Blood and all. Took you long enough. Kaela knelt and touched his shoulder. They hurt you. I'm okay, he lied. Siraya leaned in, eyes burning. They won't be. But Daniel grabbed her hand. No. No revenge. That's not who you are anymore. That's not who we are. She trembled. For a second, it looked like she might shatter the entire building. But she didn't. They left, with Daniel between them. The world was different when they came back. The Fold had sent another transmission. Not a threat. A promise. You have 3 days to surrender the aberrants. Or Earth will be reset. Reset. Daniel asked what that meant. Kaela's expression darkened. Sterilization of biosphere. Planetary algorithm collapse. They'll kill everything, Siraya whispered. That's when panic began. Governments turned. Some demanded the twins leave immediately. Others wanted to hand them over to save themselves. Protests erupted. Some in favor of the twins. Others furious that Earth had been dragged into a galactic death sentence. Daniel tried to reason with the council. He was allowed one message. He stood in front of a camera, raw, still healing. They came to us broken, he said. And we made them whole. You call them aberrants. I call them miracles. If you destroy this planet because 2 women learned what love is, then maybe your galaxy needs breaking. The council didn't reply. Kaela and Siraya watched the footage in silence. Siraya turned to Kaela. We can't protect them like this. Not with fists. Not with rage. We need to think like humans. Kaela hesitated. Then nodded. They had a plan. It was reckless. Insane. Pure Daniel. They needed to make the Fold asterisk feel star. For that, they needed a signal. A message they couldn't ignore. They returned to the ship they arrived in, the prison ship, rusting under UN guard since day 1. It wasn't much. But its core held something powerful, a Fold Nexus crystal. In the right hands, it could broadcast across dimensions. Kaela held the crystal to her chest, closed her eyes, and began to sing. Not in words. Not in any language Earth knew. A harmonic pulse, full of grief and joy, of sacrifice and longing. Siraya joined her. The tones wrapped around the crystal, bending reality itself. For 7 minutes, the sky lit up like a second sun. Every Fold listening post heard it. Not data. Asterisk emotion. Asterisk. Across the stars, for the first time in generations, the Fold felt something beyond logic. Then the signal cut. And silence returned. On Earth, the world held its breath. For 36 hours, nothing happened. Then a Fold ship arrived. Not a warship. A courier. One representative. Unarmed. She looked like Kaela and Siraya. Only older. Harder. A council mind. Her name was Velex. She asked to speak with Daniel. They met in the ruins of the facility where Daniel had been held. Velex studied him. Not with disdain. But curiosity. You are the infection, she said. Daniel smiled. And yet, here you are. She glanced at the twins. Your punishment is complete. You were meant to understand consequence. You have. Kaela stepped forward. Then we can return. Velex shook her head. No. You are changed. Not fit for reintegration. Siraya frowned. Then why are you here? Velex looked at Daniel. To offer an agreement. And for the first time in history, Earth was offered a seat at the Fold table. Not as equals. Not yet. But as observers. Learners. Because something about humanity scared them now. Not our weapons. Not our technology. Our capacity to evolve others. To change them. To make even the coldest stars feel warmth. Kaela and Siraya chose to stay. Not because they had no home. Because they had finally found one. With Daniel. With Earth. And the Fold, for all its might, had learned one truth. You can exile a warrior. But you can't exile love. Not when it blooms in the ruins. And not when it burns brighter than 1,000 stars. The countdown ended. The sky stayed still. Humanity exhaled. And the world moved forward. Together. It started with a hum. A low, almost imperceptible vibration beneath the soil, like the planet itself was stirring in its sleep. Kaela noticed it first. Her hand froze midair as she traced the edge of a leaf on a maple tree near Daniel's cabin. Her fingers twitched, like she was listening to something far away. Siraya felt it moments later, her eyes widening as she turned toward the horizon. Something's wrong, Kaela whispered. Daniel looked up from where he was stacking wood for the winter. Another Fold ship. Siraya shook her head. No. This is deeper. Older. The Fold hadn't retaliated. In fact, they'd gone quiet. Too quiet. No threats, no transmissions. They simply stopped acknowledging Earth. The diplomatic channel remained open, but no one answered. At first, Earth breathed a sigh of relief. Then things started to break. Satellites began failing randomly, without pattern. Deep-sea sensors picked up seismic anomalies that didn't match tectonic activity. And then came the disappearances. Remote outposts. Small islands. Gone. No distress calls. No wreckage. Gone. The UN scrambled. Conspiracies spread like wildfire. Some said it was retaliation. Others blamed a Fold civil war spilling over. But the truth was worse. Kaela and Siraya confirmed it when they entered the Arctic Rift. Daniel went with them, against every warning. They found it buried beneath a glacier, an ancient Fold relic. Not built by the Fold. Built before them. A kind of beacon, or maybe a gate. It pulsed with the same signature as the crystal they used to call the Fold. But this wasn't Fold tech. This is precursor, Kaela said, her voice barely a whisper. What does it do? Daniel asked. Siraya touched the monolith. It shimmered. And then the world changed. For a heartbeat, everyone on Earth saw the same vision. A sky filled with spirals. A planet cracked in half. And eyes larger than moons, blinking open across a veil of stars. Then it ended. Daniel fell to his knees. Kaela bled from her nose. Siraya convulsed for a full minute. When she came to, she only said one word: they're coming. Earth wasn't the only place the Fold had exiled their criminals. And one of them had found a way back. The being didn't arrive in a ship. It folded into reality like a virus tearing through code. The air turned electric. Oceans pulled back from the shores. Animals fled. Even birds fell from the sky, their minds overwhelmed. It called itself Velos. And it didn't care about diplomacy. Kaela and Siraya had no memory of it. But their DNA remembered. When Velos appeared in orbit, their bodies reacted. Pain. Heat. Terror. Daniel helped them through it. Cold compresses, grounding exercises. He read to them for hours, not sure if they were even listening. They were. When Kaela recovered, she said quietly, he was a Fold war god. Before the council. Before law. They couldn't kill him, Siraya added. So they buried him. Daniel looked between them. And now he's unburied. Because of us. It wasn't blame. It was truth. The Fold wouldn't help. Velex responded only once. Velos is beyond our reach. We suggest evacuation. But Kaela and Siraya didn't run. They trained. Harder than ever. They tapped into buried functions, layers of power even they had feared. Daniel watched them spar in silence. The way they moved, the way they bled when pushing too far, it scared him. You're not indestructible, he said one night. Kaela touched his cheek. No. But we are not alone either. Siraya built something. A construct. Part machine, part organic. Earth scientists tried to help but couldn't keep up. It pulsed with Fold code but responded to Daniel's voice. A failsafe. A beacon. A last line of defense. Then Velos landed. Not in a city. Not in a military zone. He chose Yellowstone. The explosion leveled forests. Geysers turned black. Wolves screamed in unnatural pitches. The sky above the park turned red. Kaela, Siraya, and Daniel were there within hours. Velos didn't speak. He didn't need to. His body shifted between forms: smoke, fire, obsidian. He didn't walk. He slithered. Flowed. His presence alone cracked the ground. Kaela attacked first. She moved like lightning, slicing with energy blades that bent gravity. They bounced off him like sparks. Siraya followed, launching spears of hard light. They pierced his shell, but he absorbed them, laughed with a sound like shattering glass. Daniel activated the construct. It sang. Not like music. Like memory. It broadcasted Daniel's voice through space, through time, through every layer of fold code and precursor tech. Remember who you were before you chose fear. Remember what it cost. Velos froze. Just for a second. But it was enough. Kaela drove a blade into his core. Siraya channeled raw gravity through the wound. Velos screamed. The kind of scream that cracked mirrors across continents. He imploded. Gone. Not dead. Banished again. And this time, the twins made sure he wouldn't come back. The crater left behind became sacred ground. No one went near it. But something had changed. Kaela's hands wouldn't stop shaking. Siraya stared into mirrors and didn't blink. And Daniel. Daniel felt farther away from them than ever before. That night, as they sat under the stars, Daniel asked the question that had been haunting him. What happens when I'm gone? Kaela looked at him, eyes full of sorrow. We don't know how to lose someone. We've never had to. Siraya leaned on his shoulder. Then we'll learn. The human way. Together. Daniel didn't reply. He just held their hands. And the stars burned a little warmer. For now. Winter arrived like a whisper. The crater in Yellowstone was now hidden beneath a fresh blanket of snow. The land, once scorched and howling, had fallen silent again. As if nature was healing itself, pretending the horror never happened. But those who had been there knew better. Especially Daniel. He stood alone at the edge of the tree line, breath misting, eyes locked on the center of the crater. Behind him, the world had moved on. New treaties were signed. Earth had become a symbol of resilience in the fold's ancient archives. Some cultures even began to revere humans, not for their power, but for their persistence. But Daniel wasn't thinking about any of that. He was dying. Not from battle wounds. Not from alien infection or fold technology. Just life. Time. The one thing Kaela and Siraya couldn't fight. The scans had confirmed it, an aggressive neurological condition, unstoppable even with fold-level treatment. 3 months. Maybe 4. He hadn't told them yet. Until now. He turned when he heard them approach, their forms fluid against the white wind. Kaela wore her old war suit, modified with earth fabric. Siraya had painted her face in soft gold lines, ceremonial. They knew. Kaela spoke first. We felt the shift in you. Siraya nodded. You were quieter. Not in sound, but in light. Daniel smiled weakly. Guess I'm not so hard to read anymore. They sat with him by the fire. No questions. No accusations. Just silence. After a while, Daniel broke it. I'm not afraid. Not really. Just, not ready to stop being part of this. Part of you. Kaela touched his hand. You changed everything. Not with war. Not with invention. With presence. Siraya leaned closer. We feared exile. We found home. They made a decision that night. Together. Fold technology had limits. But consciousness. That was something else. Siraya began constructing a transference chamber. Not a cloning device. Not immortality. Just a way to preserve memory, emotion, fragments of being. A reflection, not a replacement. Daniel was hesitant. Will it be me? Kaela answered honestly. It will be what you leave behind. Daniel sat with that for a long time. Then he nodded. Let's begin. The final days were beautiful. They read books by the fire. Walked through snowfall. watched old movies and laughed like nothing was wrong. Daniel recorded stories, thoughts, dreams. Siraya encoded every whisper into the crystal core. Kaela etched his heartbeat into a fold lattice, each pulse a signal. And when the day came, they didn't cry. They sang. A quiet song, just for him. He passed with their hands in his. And then, he became something more. The chamber activated, not with light, but warmth. The air shimmered. Not a ghost. Not a machine. But a presence. Daniel's essence, now tied to earth, to the fold, to Kaela and Siraya. He greeted them in memory. In laughter. In echoes only they could hear. And the world moved forward. Years passed. Kaela and Siraya became ambassadors. Not for the fold. Not for Earth. But for something new. A bridge civilization. The pathkeepers, they were called. They traveled between worlds, resolving conflict, planting seeds of empathy. And every world they touched heard Daniel's voice. Not booming. But steady. Inviting. Hopeful. The moral of it all? That love isn't weakness. That connection, even fleeting, can rewrite the rules of galaxies. That sometimes, the smallest acts, helping an old man, holding a hand, choosing kindness over vengeance, can create ripples the universe must reckon with. Kaela once said to a council of warlords, he wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a scientist. He was just Daniel. And he taught us how to be more than tools. Siraya added, he made us feel. And now we carry him everywhere we go. The fold changed. Slowly. Painfully. But it changed. And at the heart of that change was a story. Of two alien sisters. An exiled world. And one man who showed them what it meant to be human. Daniel Cross was gone. But his light. It never dimmed. Not in them. Not in us. Not in the stars. And somewhere, across the veil, he is still whispering. Choose love. Even when it's hard. Especially then. The story ends here. But its echo is eternal.